We invite all who would care to stand and join us in a recitation of the Lord's Prayer, followed by a moment of silence. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
It's now 7 o'clock. Shelby City Council meeting is called to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Be seated, please. Roll call, please, Mr. Crum.
Mr. Robb. Mr. Roberts? Here. Mr. Cutler? Here. Mr. Martin? Here. Mr. Walker? Here.
For the record, we received an email that informed us that Mr. Robb would be out of town here for several days, including today. He will not be at the meeting, of course. I'll now entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal from October 7, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin to dispense with the reading of the journal from October 7, 2024. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts? Yay. Mr. Cutler? Yay. Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. Walker?
Yay.
That motion passes. We now come to the time for public comment. If anyone has public comment they would like to make to council, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and make your comment at this time.
Please, my name is Southall. I recently, well not recently,
Your address, please, Mr. Hall.
I live in Shelby, Ohio.
The street address, please.
I live in Shelby, Ohio. This is a copy of a confidential document, polygraph interview and examination report that I paid for. This is something I asked for over 6 years ago when I was incarcerated, after people in this room had me incarcerated. This is what I swore to and passed the polygraph test. 0.001% chance of me being guilty of anything that I did on this day that they said I did. My name is Southall. I reported this on April 15th this year for the purpose of proving to my family community of my innocence of the crimes I was accused of on January 26th of 2018. No drugs were mine. I had no drugs in that car. Brian Hall asked me to help him drop off a car. Brian Hall took my picture before we left in front of my home, which he sent to the cop who pulled us over. Brian told me to sit up front before we were pulled over. Officer Pennington looked under my seat twice before I was taken to the hospital. I did not get off the hospital exam room table until the police came to get me to take me to jail. I told my attorney that Brian Hall was setting me up the first time I saw him. Once in jail, I was not allowed to make a phone call for 5 days. Also, no charges were filed for me for 5 days. This says subject may reasonably be excluded as a suspect right there. Georgia Needham, certified PDD examiner. If you ever want to clear your name, I got tired of your cops telling me I'm guilty all the time, looking at me and scoffing when I said I did nothing wrong. What I sent you earlier, I'm going to file. All these charges that I sent you, I'm going to file these this week. I'm going to file these this week, just to let you know. You're not getting away with what you've done to me. When you let that man steal my motorcycle that I got when my father passed away, riding up and down the road in front of me, you let him burn a house down for $15 and did nothing. That was his friend's house. This what you're doing is wrong, dude. This cannot stand. God will bring this down. But if I can, I will help him. Thank you for your time, gentlemen.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that has public comment? Would like to come to the podium, state your name and address, and make public comment? Hearing no other public comment, we move on to reports from standing and special committees. Finance and Personnel Committee, Councilman Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. McLaughlin was there for the majority of that meeting, so I'm going to hand off the reporting duties to
If you look at the packages, you can have page 1, the 101 General Fund, the fourth column from the left, less encumbrances fund balance for September 30th of 24 is $1,915,000. The other thing I'd like to point out on this page, down the 715 fund, hospitalization, the fourth column from the left, the less encumbrances fund as well, the end of September, $295,000. We'd like to stay above $360,000 in that fund, which we are below. So we're down for the year. We may suggest at a later point to transfer some funds into this fund. So that's page 1. Page 2, down at the bottom, 220 income tax. The individual and business income tax is up 8%. And the withholding is up over 12%. The caution note, some of our manufacturing businesses are slowing. We'll skip page 3, go to page 4. If you look at U.S. Bank, it shows we still have over $1 million in that bank. We had some CDs that did not mature yet, so when they will, we'll pull them out and put them in Mechanics or Park Bank. Page 5, the Suda Roush. As you can see, the balance at the end of September, $237,000, so we're up over $30,000 for the year. And final page, income tax collections. For September, we collected over $428,000, bringing the total for the end of September, $4,393,000. That's the finance report. For personnel, we sworn Colin McBride to be a full-time firefighter. This brings our fire department staffing to 3 5-man shifts plus a full-time floater to cover Kelly days, sick days, and vacation days. The start date is 2 days from now. Negotiations are both continuing and commencing. It's continuing with the IUOE Unit A on the 23rd, as well as commencing with the IUOE for Unit B, and then on the 25th with the firefighters. That's it for the finance and personnel report, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman McLaughlin. Are there comments or questions for Mr. McLaughlin regarding his report?
Mayor, I move that combined financial statement and the cash and investment reconciliation statement, both dated September 30th, 2024, be received, placed on file, and posted to the city website.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Martin, and a second by Mr. McLaughlin, that the combined financial statement and the cash investment reconciliation statement, both dated September 30th, 2024, be received, placed on file, and posted to the city website. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts? Yay. Mr. Cutler?
Yay.
Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yay.
That motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen. Now come to the Utilities and Streets Committee, Councilman McLaughlin.
Mayor, the Utility and Streets Committee met October 18th. There are 5 topics I'm going to brief the council. First topic is leaf pickup. The tentative schedule to start picking up leaves is this week. The collection process will run through the month of November. We're asking the residents to refrain from the following: refrain from placing foreign material in the leaf pile, parking a vehicle in or in front of the leaf piles, bagging leaves, placing leaves in the street, or placing leaves close to a mailbox pole between guy wires and utility poles. The drop-off site is behind the community gardens is no longer available. Next topic, the water service line inventory reporting. The city's water service line inventory was submitted to our EPA, a mandatory inventory that we talked about last month. We submitted that on Tuesday, October 15th. So the next dates are by dates that we need to have these items completed by. So by November 15th, any service line identified as lead galvanized or unknown, the water customer must receive a written notice from the city informing them of their service line material presented to the EPA. Until all unknown service lines are identified, the city is mandated to treat the service line as a lead line. It's important any resident that receives a letter stated that their water service line material is unknown, please either identify the material and call the utilities office with the specific material, or call the utilities office to schedule an appointment to have the service technician come out to identify the material. And then by January 15th next year, Shelby will need to provide the EPA, Ohio EPA, with an example letter that was used to notify water customers, with 3 different notification letters, one for each service line identity. Lead, we identified 613 thus far, 616, galvanized 126, and unknown 378 at this point. The annual notifications will also need to be sent out to residents that have a lead until it is unknown. Lead or have been replaced. Mandatory service line proposed replacement schedule in 2027. Service line replacement plan is due to Ohio EPA, and then for the next 10 years after that, 2027 to 2013, start replacing water service lines that are lead galvanized or unknown. Next topic, the water fund balance update. The water fund balance is improving, although still running tight. Income is keeping up with operational expenses. The large expense in fourth quarter is chemicals. Encumbered chemicals, 56,000 at this point. The fund balance comfort level after encumbrances is above 50,000. Combined financial statement, the water fund balance after encumbrances, $56,872. Next topic is BESS, Battery Energy Storage System. 10 megawatt BESS project update. Project designed to mitigate transmission and capacity charges. Our estimated savings over the term is $12 million. The term is for 15 years. It commences in 2025 and concludes in 2039. The BESS project is to be ready for service late Q1 of next year. Final topic tonight. The AMP contracted resources realignment opportunity update that we briefed on last month. We're going to see that in the form of Resolution 50/2024 tonight. So just a quick update. The assignment opportunity was for AMP's Greenup and Meldal contracted resources. Shelby submitted these hydros for assignment. The Greenup hydro plant, 366 kW, as Meldal hydro was 559 kW. Both of those together included $4.5 million in debt. 2 AMP member communities were interested in Shelby's Greenup and Meldal hydro resources. At this point, St. Mary's in Ohio would like to get assigned ownership share. The reasons for the interest in assigning the resources: reduces our outstanding debt by $4.5 million. The current lineup of all contracted resources are take-pay in agreements, meaning the city is obligated to purchase the power produced from the resources hydros. The city's electric load requirement doesn't always need the amount of power being diverted to the community. Power is sold back to the market at a loss when the city's demand falls below contracted resources amount. It also allows flexibility with replacing the hydropower with less expensive power. It also allows another 1 megawatt of behind-the-meter solar to be installed. And of course, as I said, we have legislation tonight for this. That is all I have there.
All right. Thank you, Councilman McLaughlin. Are there any comments or questions for Mr. McLaughlin in regard to his report? All right, hearing none, we'll move forward then to reports of city officials, other than the typical mayoral duties issues and delights of the last couple of weeks. I have really no report tonight. We have a pretty full agenda of 9 pieces of legislation, so I will save my comments for next meeting. All right. Move forward then to Mr. Crum, Director of Finance.
Councilman McLaughlin really covered all the important parts of my office the last couple weeks, so no report from me, sir.
Mr. Ister, Law Director.
No report.
Thank you. And I'm sure we have some sort of report from Mr. Joe Geis, Project Coordinator.
No report.
Uh,
No, just very brief though, we did receive our last paving invoice today, and we'll be like $1,300 under our contract, so that's good news. So, we've started talking about a meeting to get working on next year's paving project. We'll let's see what funds are available and forecast that out, so, and that's all I have.
My piggyback on that, we now have 2 tools in our toolbox for evaluating streets in the city. Richmond County Regional Planning Commission has a really cool, I don't know what you call it, app or whatever that is, street by street evaluation and actual visuals. So the administration will be using those to help us evaluate the streets that will, get our attention for paving next year. Very good. Mr. Cutler.
I was just curious if you had any updates on Shelby Avenue wireline project, how they proceeding with that?
Mr. Geis.
I did not get out there today to see how far they are. I know our other guys, they had planned to get all the way to Plymouth Street, which I knew wasn't gonna happen, so last week, so I assume they go through there this week yet, so then they'll start the services.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? If not, we'll move forward to new business. We have an item under new business this evening. We're looking for a motion to approve the Clark Avenue roadway as a local landmark per ordinance number 1488.07.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts, I believe it's a second by Mr. McLaughlin, for that approval of Clark Avenue roadway. You do have in your packet the minutes from the public hearing that was held on October 11, 2024. If you're able to read through those, and then a little background to Clark Avenue bricks and stone curves, interesting history to the installation, and then kind of a picture then of what that roadway looks like. So this is kind of a follow-up to the 2 landmarks we designated last meeting. Discussion, Mr. Martin.
Yes, I noticed in here there was some discussion about the cost and maintenance. I'm wondering if Mr. Ensman could kind of speak to that. What he brought up to the Preservation Commission. Obviously, it's not fleshed out in more detail, so I'd love to hear his thoughts.
Thank you, Mayor. I do not have a cost estimate to make a full repair of Clark Street. It does need repaired. If anybody's driving out, the waves as you go through there. It is difficult to maintain with snow removal. I do know that. We did repair their road several years back, some brickwork. It is tedious work, to say the least. Anytime you get into brickwork, you tend to dismember some of the bricks, put some of the bricks back, especially if it's in the second part. It could be challenging. There's a question about that to maintain this road. I think we was reassured by the commission, though, that if there's work that needs to be done, that we could bring it back to the commission and discuss it with them, the expensiveness of the expense at that time.
Mr. Cook?
Yeah, I was curious if you have to do water line repair or something of that nature, or how much longer would it take to do something of that nature compared to asphalt?
It can be very difficult. If you're going to repair the road back to its like concrete, its current condition, it's pretty difficult. I'm not quite sure if the water line is in the road, we might pull this up.
It's off.
It's the side of the road. I mean, that will make it easier. That's definitely going to make it easier if it's off the side of the road. But the maintenance will be getting difficult.
Unless you gotta replace it across the road.
That's correct. If the service line is going across the road, we could push the service line. There is a device called a push machine that you can have an open trench on one side and you can target the other side and actually push the water line underneath the road. So that is available purchase for us right now. We're actually looking at the push machine to do such jobs as that. But yeah, if we need to get a service line under the road, then that can be done.
Schmuck.
No, my thoughts are, I'm not necessarily opposed to doing this, I'm just kind of opposed to doing it this time. I don't feel that we have, there's just a lot that goes into it. When you're doing like brick and mortar things like the arches and stuff like that, it's a little bit easier to see and understand. I would like to understand more fully the ramifications of an actual roadway and what that means for future repairs and all that kind of stuff. And I just don't feel that I have enough information to saddle future councils and future citizens with this designation and the full breadth of what that actually means. I just can see a lot of peril and not a lot of upside or benefit. To my knowledge, there hasn't been a lot of discussion about taking it out or ripping it up and replacing it in all the years I've been on council, so it's not as if there needs to be an immediate designation to protect it. I think we all understand the historical value. I don't know that a designation is necessary. I don't feel it necessary at this time.
Mr. Geis?
If I could, I see where you're going here, but in the ordinance, it does say at the next regular city council meeting occurring subsequent to the receipt of recommendation of historic preservation to designate individual landmark, council shall vote by motion on the designation of the property.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, my intent's not to postpone. My intent
Okay.
is to vote down. Not to say we can't bring it forward in the future. There's nothing prohibiting that, but it's just, it's not a never, it's just at this time, I don't think we have enough information or anything that would mean that we immediately need to address this. With the other things we did, those were kind of things that should have been doing, in the past, and I have no problem with that. With this particular one, I see, again, a lot of peril with going down this road, and I want to make sure that we have some flexibility with how to deal with these things, especially when we're dealing with a roadway, an active roadway now.
Mr. Butler?
I would be curious of the cost to fix that roadway and level it.
What, you mean with the existing materials or just a whole new roadway?
Probably with the existing materials. I think that unless they need replaced.
Mr. Geis?
Mount Vernon has quite a few brick roads. Last time I talked to them, it's been years ago, they have contractors who can come in and do that. Probably more so efficient than our crews, and they're so busy doing the other stuff too, so if you want me, I could probably get a cost on that.
Appreciate it.
What did that say, shall what? Shall vote on?
Shall vote by motion.
If you vote to postpone, is that not voting? Present myself an own parliamentary question, I don't know.
I don't,
Number
I don't-
4 says they can resubmit it if it's voted down.
yeah,
Thank you.
and if there's no objection to the property owner, which is,
I don't think there's
Thank you.
which is us, and I'm saying I don't object to being brought forward, but I don't have enough information or the consciousness to really designate.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts?
Nay.
Mr.
What's
Cutler?
that?
Nay.
Mr. Cutler?
Nay.
Mr. Martin?
Nay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yay.
The motion to approve fails. Now come to the unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business to be brought before council this evening? Hearing none, let's move forward then to legislation.
Ordinance number 21, 2024, enacting section 1296.18, minimum lot width requirement of the codified ordinances of the city of Shelby.
Move for third reading.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin for the third reading of ordinance number 21, 2024. Discussion, Mr. Gettis.
As part of the zoning ordinance, there has to be a public hearing with a 30-day notice in the paper, so that was put in the paper. So this will need to be postponed until the second meeting in November, which is November the 18th.
Mr. Roberts.
I move we postpone this ordinance for third reading to the second meeting in November.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin to postpone the third reading of ordinance number 21, 2024 until the second meeting in November. Discussion on the postponement. Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts?
Yeah.
Mr. Cutler?
Yay.
Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yay.
The motion to postpone passes.
Ordinance number 23, 2024, amending Title 4 subdivision regulations of the codified ordinances of the city of Shelby.
Move for second reading.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin for the second reading of ordinance number 23, 2024. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts?
Yeah.
Mr. Cutler?
Yay.
Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Yay.
Ordinance number 23, 2024 passes its second reading.
Ordinance number 24, 2024, amending section 402.01 of meanings of words and phrases of chapter 402 definitions of the codified ordinances of the city of Shelby, Ohio.
Move for the second reading.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin for the second reading of ordinance number 24, 2024. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts?
Yay.
Mr. Cutler?
Yay.
Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Ordinance number 24, 2024 passes its second reading.
Ordinance number 25, 2024, amending section 44.07, impounding of vehicles, redemption of chapter 404, enforcement impounding of the codified ordinances of the city of Shelby, Ohio.
Move for second reading.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin for the second reading of ordinance number 25, 2024. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts?
Yay.
Mr. Cutler?
Yay.
Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Ordinance number 25, 2024 passes its second reading.
Ordinance number 26, 2024, amending section 432.24, driving upon sidewalks, tree lawns, or curbs of chapter 432, operation generally of the codified ordinances of the city of Shelby, Ohio.
Move for the second reading.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Cutler for the second reading of ordinance number 26, 2024. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts?
Yeah.
Mr. Cutler?
Yay.
Mr. Martin?
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Ordinance number 26, 2024 passes its second reading.
Ordinance number 27, 2024, repealing section 444 of .06, riding bicycles upon sidewalks of Chapter 444, bicycles and motorcycles generally, of the codified ordinances of the City of Shelby, Ohio.
Move for second reading. Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Cutler for the second reading of ordinance number 27, 2024. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts.
Yay.
Mr. Cutler.
Yay.
Mr. Martin.
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin.
Ordinance number 27, 2024 passes its second reading.
Resolution number 49, 2024, authorizing the mayor as Director of Public Safety of the City of Shelby to apply for the fiscal year 25 Marks Multi-Agency Radio Communication System grant from the Ohio Department of Commerce, Division of State Fire Marshal, for Marks radio equipment fees and declaring an emergency. Resolution be taken and passed.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Roberts and a second by Mr. Martin for the passage of resolution number 49, 2024. Discussion? Go ahead, Mr. Chief. You want to say a few words, Chief?
This is a grant we've applied for several years now. It just covers about half of our Marks radio fees. So it knocks down, like I said, we've spent a little more than this, but it comes pretty close to 50%. It's no guarantee, but it's a shot. So it's reimbursement grant.
You know what? Thank you, Chief. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts.
Yay.
Mr. Cutler.
Yay.
Mr. Martin.
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin.
Resolution number 49, 2024 passes.
Resolution number 50, 2024, authorizing the mayor as Director of Public Service to assign the City of Shelby, Ohio's interest in the Green Up Power Sales Contract and the Medall Power Sales Contract with American Municipal Power, Inc. to the City of St. Mary's, Ohio, and taking other actions in connection therewith.
Move the resolution be taken and passed.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Martin and a second by Mr. Roberts for the passage of resolution number 50, 2024. Discussion? Mr. Martin.
The only real discussion I have is I'm giddy. When I first came on city council, I was assigned to the Utilities and Streets Committee, and pretty much right away we've tried to get out of these burdensome contracts. And I'm glad that another municipality will be able to take advantage of them. But it just with the numbers and the way it works, it always really puts us behind the eight ball and the flexibility to be able to provide the best service to our citizens. So they may be wonderful for another community, but they were never really wonderful for our community. And I'm glad that we're able to find a mutually beneficial agreement and get back to crunching the numbers and doing what we have been rather successful at, and is trying to, in a time where power rates are rising seemingly exponentially. I know it's not, but for us to be able to have steady rates for our citizens, this allows us to continue that pace anew. So really thankful for everybody who worked on this and their diligence getting it to us tonight.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts.
Yay.
Mr. Cutler.
Yay.
Mr. Martin.
Yay.
Mr. McLaughlin.
Resolution number 50, 2024 passes.
Resolution number 51, 2024, authorizing the mayor as Director of Public Service of the City of Shelby to accept the forthcoming retirement of John Ensman, submitted for purposes of initiating earned retirement benefits effective as of the end of the workday on December 31st, 2024, and declaring an emergency.
Resolution be taken and passed.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Robertson, a second by Mr. McLaughlin for the passage of resolution number 51, 2024. Discussion? Mr. Cutler?
I would just like to say I'm very excited that Mr. Ensman over here has come back on board and stay with us for a little while longer. He is well versed in what he does. He'd be hard to replace, and I'm glad to see that he's going to continue to serve the city of Shelby as good as he has for all these years.
Mr. Martin?
As I said, John, Mr. Ensman, and I have worked together since I came on board, city council, and I don't feel that people of Shelby, and I don't think there's anything that we could say that would get the people of Shelby to fully understand the gem that we have in Mr. Ensman running that department. Seeing things behind the scenes, how he operates, how he works with his team. There's not a day goes by that I don't thank God that we have him in our city working for us, with us. But also, not a day that goes by that I don't appreciate that if we didn't have him, where we would be. You would be hard pressed to find anybody who would say that we would be in a better off position. So I'm glad to have him around as long as humanly possible. So.
And may I add, there are a few words in this resolution. I'm very glad they're in this resolution. If I did not see the term reemployment, then John was going to retire and we had the opportunity to rehire them, I think we'd all be weeping at this point. But so John, we're happy for you. You deserve everything of the retirement. Worked hard from the ground up. He started at the very, very beginning and worked his way up through here. So happy for all of the benefits of retirement. But I'm so glad he's going to be around to, as he says, finish some projects we had in the works that have his fingerprints all over them again. In the meantime, we are going to, and Mr. Ensman and I have had discussion, we've got to look at this inevitable decision as a city to try to find someone in some way to try to fill his shoes. So that'll be part of the process. If everything works out, if you all see fit to do it, the reemployment of Mr. Ensman. But we'll be working together. And also, I may just say, we will need to decide, I don't know if it has to be decided before we vote on it, but there is, if you look at the one paragraph, it's in section 1, about a notice of a public hearing, and then about the next to last line, the date of the public hearing as determined by council. We need to get that fitted in there no later than November 4th. Am I reading that right, Mr. Ensman? So just keep that in mind as you, Mr. Ensman, do you think it has to be so you should name a date, then pass it? So as part of your discussion, this is by legal counsel. So if we can get together on a date, I guess you could amend that. So the date of the public hearing as, and then you could probably just put a date in there, we could leave the term by council, and then we could pass it that way. And again, this is by legal counsel. So we do have a space.
But my question, Mayor, is the time is set there at 7. I assume that is not set in stone by.
Mr. Ensman, you can come and explain. You've had more conversations with Berker Braden on this. We were thinking, I know where you're going, but Mr. Ensman will explain.
Yeah, the date and time needs to be separate from a scheduled council meeting. So unfortunately, if we discuss with also legal counsel, if we have a special meeting at 6:30 on a regular scheduled meeting date, but that is not possible. It needs to be scheduled on a different date other than a regular scheduled meeting. And I apologize, but that's.
Is there a reason for that? Because it's a separate meeting. It would be, like, I understand it's a separate, like, how we avoid it.
It can't be on the floor.
Right. Cannot be the same.
I've discussed that with outside legal counsel, and it cannot be, because that was my choice, was to put it at 6:30
on November the 4th, I believe, and unfortunately that is not possible. It needs to be a separate meeting by itself.
Those are your,
Yeah.
other councils have meetings before.
We do it all the time. All
I
right.
have to be authorized to do that before November 4th, I think. If I'm reading section 1 correctly, I have to be authorized, and gentlemen, take a look at it, please, and Mr. Law Director, that the mayor has to be authorized and instructed to place a notice of public hearing no later, in the sense, no later than November 4th. So, such notice to specify the date of the public hearing as, we need to come up with something between now and November 4th. Am I reading it right, Mr. Reister?
We got to put a date in December, but publish it by November 4th.
Correct, but they have to authorize me to publish it.
Correct.
Yes. So we have to decide now what date we're on.
And it
Yeah,
has
what
to be in
date?
December.
For the public hearing.
Yeah.
Public hearing has to be in between the 15 and 30 days from January 3rd.
But it has to be placed in, it has to be placed in the data load on the city's website by November 4th, no later than November 4th.
That doesn't wait.
Am I reading that?
Yes.
So in other words, you just,
You give them at least a 30-day notice of the hearing is what you're doing. And then the hearing has to be held between 15 and 30 days of January 3rd.
okay, so section 1 takes care of itself if you just pass it as it is. They're just giving me authorization to
The only thing we need to do is put a date in that blank.
down,
And it has to be-
down in the
Or
public notice.
Or a time, if you want to make a different time. I don't think
And it has to be-
Yeah.
And it can't be any earlier than 15 days before January 5th and 30 days, right? So
Correct.
between 15 and 30 days prior. So that gives us a window of January 3rd is a Friday? Yeah. So that gives us a window of the 3rd, between the 3rd and the 19th. We have to meet.
That look right to everybody?
Yeah, put a date buffer on both sides just to be safe.
So the 4th and the 18th.
Yeah.
Easy enough. All right.
So what days those are?
Well, well, I'm thinking either the Monday the 9th or Tuesday the 17th.
Not required to be there, park board is generally the, park board would be the ninth.
Probably the 9th.
Well, what time? 7?
It's generally 7, yeah.
I mean, if it, there's nothing written in stone that has to be 7 PM, am I correct, Mr.?
No, it does not have to be something.
So it could be
You
6.
You could make it the 9th at 6. Mr., that would just, for Mr. Cummings, one evening, all done.
That's fine.
Does everyone think you're available on the 9th?
Say the date again.
December 9th.
December 9th.
I know I'm not available, but you don't need me there. so.
Right. It'll just be a public, it'll be a public meeting. Everyone all right with the 9th? So would one of you gentlemen want to, by unanimous consent, yes, Mr. Martin?
By unanimous consent, I'd like to put, held on December 9th, 2024 at 6 PM.
Okay. Does everyone see that under the public notice, second paragraph, third line, be read on December 9th at 6 PM? That is by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Hearing no objections, those will be the numbers, December 9th at 6 PM. Okay, and then again, section 1 takes care of itself. I'm sorry if I brought some confusion, and that takes care of itself. We'll make sure that that's done. Any further discussion? Mr. McLaughlin?
I'd like to say something.
Sure.
I've known Mr. Ensman since high school. We share some interesting experiences, don't we, Johnny? I'd like to mirror what Mr. Martin and others have said. I truly believe the city of Shelby is so fortunate to have him in this position. He has saved the community many dollars. Thank you, John.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts? Yay. Mr. Cutlet?
Yay.
Mr. Martin?
Yay?
Mr. McGough?
Yay.
Resolution number 51, 2024 passes. Now comes the time for miscellaneous business. Any miscellaneous business to be brought before council? Mr. Martin?
Mayor, with council adjourned.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Martin and a late second by Mr. McLaughlin for adjournment. Roll call, please.
Mr. Roberts? Yay. Mr. Cutlet?
Yay.
Mr. Martin?
Yay?
Mr. McGough?
Yay.
And we are adjourned at 7:45. Gentlemen.
Next board.